Somewhere between your morning coffee and your grocery receipt, something quietly stole from you. It didn't wear a mask, it didn't break in. It just made everything cost a little more than it used to. That thief has a name, and it's called inflation, and the wild part is that most people just accept it like bad weather. We check the price tag, sigh, and move on without ever asking why the number keeps climbing. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Imagine you had $100 in your pocket in 1985. That same $100 today would buy you maybe $30 worth of what it used to, depending on the category. Your money didn't disappear from your wallet, it just quietly lost its muscle. That's the real definition of purchasing power. And inflation is basically its personal trainer working against you every single year. Now here's where it gets ironic. You could literally do nothing wrong, work hard, save diligently, never splurge once, and still end up behind. If your savings account is earning 1% interest while inflation runs at 3%, you are mathematically losing ground while sitting perfectly still. Think of it like walking up a down escalator. You are moving, you feel like you're doing something, but the floor keeps pulling you back. This is why just saving money isn't enough. And that's the part nobody really taught us growing up. We were told to put it in the bank and let it sit. But the bank was never going to outrun inflation on your behalf. Investing in assets like stocks, real estate, or inflation-protected bonds is basically the financial world's way of saying you have to run faster than the escalator. Some of those assets have historically returned 7 to 10% per year on average, which actually does beat inflation if you stay patient and consistent. Retirement planning is where inflation becomes really sneaky, because you're not planning for today's prices, you're planning for prices 20 or 30 years from now. If something costs $50 today, and inflation averages 3%, that same thing could cost over $120 by the time you retire. That's not a scare tactic, that's just compound math doing its thing in the wrong direction for once. You plan for the future using today's numbers and then wonder why the future feels so expensive when you finally get there. Watching inflation trends isn't just something economists do for fun on a Tuesday. It actually helps you make smarter decisions about when to buy, when to invest, and when to hold back. The Federal Reserve adjusts interest rates partly to manage inflation, which means those decisions ripple all the way down to your mortgage, your car loan, and your credit card rate. When inflation spikes, the cost of borrowing usually goes up too, which slows down spending, which eventually cools prices. It's this big, weird, interconnected loop. You are living inside that loop whether you realize it or not. The good news is that understanding inflation doesn't require a finance degree or a spreadsheet addiction. It just requires you to stop treating money as a static thing and start treating it as something that needs to keep moving and growing to hold its value. History shows that people who ignored inflation in their long-term plans consistently ended up frustrated in their later years, while people who accounted for it, even imperfectly, were far more comfortable. It's not about being rich, it's about being aware that the rules of money change slowly and constantly, and awareness is already half the battle. If any of this has you curious about protecting your money, growing your wealth, or just understanding how the financial world actually works, go check out our links in the description to see everything we do and dive even deeper.